Oh, this is going to be a spicy one. So today I'm going to be talking about the 5 kinds of Idle Heroes players I dislike, which already is a problematic video in and of itself, because no doubt the majority of you watching this could very easily fall into one of these categories. The goal of this video is not to offend anybody. The goal is to make you aware of your own traits if you have these, or to combine ourselves in solidarity against these people that can often make playing Idle Heroes, at least within this community, an unpleasant experience. This community is full of amazing people. The interconnectedness between whales and free-to-play players across all platforms through Discord, through Facebook, through Reddit is fantastic. But amongst that community, we have some certain people that are often quite difficult to deal with, and sometimes they don't even know it. So today are 5 people who play Idle Heroes that often cause me problems. Let's just put it that way. First of all, I'd like to talk about one which is going to get me into so much trouble. It's entitled free-to-play players. Imagine walking into McDonald's, getting to the till, demanding a Big Mac, and then complaining that you were charged money for it. Imagine thinking that things in this world that are free aren't just a gift or a blessing. You can go onto your mobile device, download Idle Heroes, and piggyback off this game for your own enjoyment without spending any money at all. You have no right to be entitled to anything if you're a free-to-play player. This game is supported by a development team who need to make money, who need to pay for servers, who need to run things. Sure, they can be greedy at times, but that's a different video, and sure, obviously, they sometimes make mistakes. But at the end of the day, if you're going to complain that something is hidden behind a paywall, well, you don't really have a right to, because you're a free-to-play player, and everything in this game ultimately is a game. It's a business. It's a company. And if you're not willing to put into that pot, honestly, it's hard to say that you have a say. It's fun for you to play and go through, play the game, make progress as a free-to-play player. In fact, some of the most fun I've had is as a free-to-play player. But the moment free-to-play players start complaining about the difference between spenders and themselves, they've completely missed the point. Spenders allow you to play this game for free, and if there was no advantage to spending money, nobody would do it. So let's be realistic, guys. Free-to-play players, enjoy the ride, enjoy the fun, enjoy what comes from completing this game, but don't feel like you're entitled to anything, because at the end of the day, you are contributing nothing to this game when it comes to its financial performance. And that's just the fact. Nothing in life is free, and if it is, take it as a blessing. Don't be a douchebag about it. Next, we have entitled veteran players. This is completely different. This is people who have been playing the game so long that they just go, I've been playing so long, therefore I am correct. These people often are put onto platforms or positions of authority because of their experience playing the game. And I don't think there's a lot of people like this, actually. I don't think there's a lot of entitled veterans. I like to think that with experience, you actually become a lot more humbled out in this game when you understand more. I think there are people in this game, though, that do play this game for quite some time and therefore think they're always right about everything. These people exist. If you know one, maybe call them out at some point, or don't. You'll probably just get into a fight. But they can be found here and there, and they often do make life a little bit difficult because they mix with a different kind of player, another player that I find problematic, and it's overconfident noobs. Have you ever heard of the dunning-kruger effect? It's basically, over time, you gain loads of confidence in something, and then you suddenly realize it's more complicated than you thought, and then you lose your confidence in it, and eventually you get to a point where you're like, okay, trust me, dude, this is tricky, and you gain humility and confidence and experience. You have this thing called an overconfident noob, which is someone who's new to the game, then reads every guide, finds everything, and it's normally coupled with someone who is highly intelligent, and they learn everything they think there is to know about this game, and suddenly act like a douchebag because they act like they know everything, when in reality, they don't. These are normally the people to snap give you answers and say, this is correct, you have to do it like this, and they can often cause people a lot of stress and trouble, and they often lead to being backseaters or people that just want to tell people what to do all of the time, and they can be quite jarring. If you find yourself as one of these people, maybe take a step back and go, actually, there's a lot about this game that I don't know, and trust me, you will realize in months and months to come how silly you were early on to act the way that you did, or you'll never grow up, and that's also totally fine. Next, we have the one-way Andy, which is the only way I could have described this. These are similar to overconfident noobs, but these people genuinely think there's only one way to play the game. Normally, these are super strategic, must play in the most optimal way possible. If you don't, you're an idiot. These people are really, really hard to get along with because you can't have a meaningful discussion with these people because they've set an opinion and a way of thinking in themselves that they think is correct. Ironically, I've seen one-way Andys flip-flop on opinions, so you just have to get them on the right day where they have an opinion equal to yours, but once they've got one, they're stubborn and they won't move from it. And it's really hard to have a conversation with these people, as I said, because you just can't theory craft with them, you can't discuss things, because they'll say, yes, but, well, my idea's better. And it's quite hard to talk to people like that. By the way, I do want to say at this point in the video, I have been guilty of nearly all of these things. I've never been an entitled free-to-play player, because I've never really been a free-to-play player, and if I was, I would most hopefully not be entitled. But I have been in other games, right? I've played a game and gone, dang it, I wish I had more as a free-to-play player. But I think there's a difference between wanting more and thinking I deserve the world, right? There's a big difference. And I want to go back to that one real quick because more often than not, these people are young people who don't quite realize that the fact it's free is a blessing and most things in life aren't free, right? Solidarity for adult life, hopefully, that you guys are like, man, taxes and bills and rent and yikes. Honestly, kids, you've got all that to come, and trust me, having something that's free, that doesn't drain you of your resources, is a blessing. If only your parents could go, oh man, wouldn't it be great if kids were free to play? How can I get a free to play kid that doesn't, you know, cost me everything to feed them, look after them? Even having you go to the hospital and give birth costs money in America. Wild. Anyway, that was a massive tangent, and I just wanted to get onto my final one now. You've probably counted there's 4 so far. So what is the 5th kind of player that I find really problematic and often don't enjoy? This is going to be really, really interesting. Content creators. Me. I dislike myself. And you know why? Because I can say things on the internet, and I can be wrong. Now, if I play a game that's any game, no doubt I'm going to be wrong. And hopefully you guys can also, just for a moment, relate. That's all I'm asking you to do. When you do something and no one's watching, you will make mistakes. I bet you sit down at a chessboard and you make mistakes. I bet you that you sit down and play any game and mess up. Now imagine if you've got thousands and thousands of people watching you every time you mess up. You're either more likely to mess up or you're going to step up and just go, I've just got to do this. And if I'm wrong, I'll take the backlash. And that's what happens as a content creator. Sometimes you say things that get you into trouble. Sometimes you make videos like this where you get into trouble and people get hurt and upset. And it's really difficult to know what you can get away with and what you can say on a platform like this. So content creators, we get into trouble all the time. We can be really problematic. Next, we can say things and they can be misunderstood. That's terrifying, right? Imagine if someone turns around and says Garuda's the best first E5. Yikes. You know what's wrong with that sentence? No one's agreed on what best means. Best could mean most powerful. It could mean easiest to build. It could be most accessible. It could be one that you can get and generate resources with quickly. I'll level with you guys. Depending on how you define best, it could be Garuda, it could be Eloise, it could be many, 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 many heroes. And that's the problem. Content creators say things. Saying things is bad. And when you have the influence and power that a content creator has, it's extra bad. So yeah, I really don't like the fact that we content creators have so much influence over what people think is good and what people think is the way to go. The amount of times I've heard MK said or Barry said or anybody else, right? It's really jarring. And I guess there's like a secret sixth here, which is people who blindly believe everything they read on the internet, but those people are just problematic for many other reasons than just for the fact they play idle heroes. So yeah, I find it hard and I struggle as a content creator to like myself. And the other thing is, how do you enjoy the game, right? How can you enjoy the game in a deep and meaningful way when you know every single thing you do is being scrutinized and judged and you're always terrified of making a mistake? And also when you realize that many people could copy what you do And that's also terrifying. What happens if you make a mistake and then thousands of people copy and then they resent you for it? Or you make a tier list and people don't read the fact it's a PvP tier list and suddenly everyone's walking around with bad heroes. Or even they see a tier list and you go, yeah, I think Drake's great as an E5, and they build him as a first E5 just because I did it for fun, right, on the VIP series. But then they think that's a good idea. Oh no. Or God forbid they build Rogan as a first E5. You know, all these different things that I've done because I thought it was fun. Lots of people think is the right way to play. They assume because Streamer Man said it, it's optimal. It's not. A lot of things I do for content, right? Not necessarily because it's the right or optimal thing to do. And at no point do I ever claim that what I'm doing is the right or optimal way to do things. I just provide you with, this is me playing the game, and hopefully you'll learn something from it. And a lot of people do. And you know what? Saying that brings me on to actually another one. Let's make this 6. Because there is a kind of player who don't appreciate how complicated Idle Heroes is. That is probably the worst kind of player. Because I didn't appreciate this. I think all of us, if you're watching this video, if you watch my videos and you know what's going on, you're already at risk of being that kind of player. My friend Jess picked up Idle Heroes, and I just didn't realize how much of this game I took for granted. Just knowing to save resources, knowing what's worth spending your gems on, knowing what 5 stars are good and which ones are food. Things like this that a lot of us established players take for granted, noobs don't understand because they're new. They haven't got a clue. And therefore they're going around like, what? How do I do? What? What is a wishing coin? What is a seal land? What is the void? What are tenants? What is Celestial Island? And what is a Cloud Island bonus and awakening? Soul Temple? Auction house? What is all this? And how on earth can you expect a new player to feel comfortable discussing things with us as a community if the way we speak is so alien and foreign to them? So sometimes we, as people that play this game, need to learn to pull back and speak in a way that's accessible and understandable, and look at something from someone's contextual standpoint, rather than, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're a big dumb. And I think that's something we can all learn, hopefully. Anyway, folks, this video has been weird. I'm going to get a lot of hate for it, I think. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the fallout's like. I'll see you in the next one. Happy idling.